Is cutting my hair actually a sin? Depends how you define sin. We have 4 sins. Kurat, the word is kurat. I don't know how you translate kurat into English. Does anybody have an idea? Prohibition, things that you are stopped from doing. Yeah, against doing. But it's not sin, it's not the same word as sin. So the kurat is cutting your hair. And in all spiritual traditions, hair has been kept. Think about the standard picture that you see of Jesus Christ. Long hair and a beard. Think about Buddha. All the Buddhists have got shaved heads, but Buddha's got a Judah on his head. I don't know much about Buddhism. You can teach me a lot more, I'm sure. I don't know what that relationship is, but I look at a picture of Buddha and I say, oh, he's got hair. Yeah? So, Muhammad, the reason Muslims keep a dadi, you ask them, why do you keep your dadi? They said, because the Prophet Muhammad kept a dadi. That's the reason why we keep a dadi. So, spirituality and acceptance of the human form has always been part of the spiritual path. That this is, if the path is to realize that everything is God, then why am I cutting God? If the path is to realize that everything is God, then why am I cutting God? So it goes hand in hand with this, but I won't go as far as saying it's a sin, because a sin is like there's a God up there and he's looking down on you and he's saying, nope, you're not allowed in, your hair is cut. And he's giving a cross. You know, there's like a checklist. You know, when I did my driving test, there's a very intimidating man sitting next to me and he's got a checklist. Does he do all the stuff? But he doesn't tick the good stuff. He ticks all the bad stuff that you've done. Like, oh, he didn't look in his mirror or he didn't signal. Tick, tick. And every time he's ticking, I'm looking over there like, he's put another tick against my name. And if you get more than, I think, 15 ticks against your name, then you failed your driving test. Right? I don't know how it is here. So we've made God like that. So we've made God into, I've got a checkbox. As long as I tick all the boxes, I'm doing all the right stuff, God is happy. And as long as I don't tick any of the bad boxes, that's not what Sikhi is, according to my understanding. Hair is not about sin and not sin. This is like, to me, I see hair like the flowers at the end of a tree. Why would you want to cut the flowers off? To me, this is my expression of my inner happiness. When I found inner happiness, I expressed it in this external beauty. I'm saying, wow, look at this. And I'm not even saying, look at this, I'm decorating it with beautiful clothes and a beautiful turban. This is my decoration because I found this to be beautiful. So my external roop, the form, is an expression of my inner happiness. So why would I want to cut it? It's like, this is beautiful. It's like asking the tree, why haven't you trimmed all the flowers off? The tree will say, why would I want to do that? It's amazing, it's beautiful, this is who I am. This is the expression of who I am. Now if you say, is it a sin to cut the flowers off? No, it's not a sin, but why would you want to do that? After the flower, if you don't cut the flower will change into a fruit. And then from the fruit, you can eat the fruit. And from the fruit, there'll be a seed. And from the seed, there'll be another tree. This is a beautiful system. And this is a beautiful system as well. But you only feel like that when you've understood that from internally. Your hair is the expression of the internal joy and bliss that you feel. If you're questioning whether you should or you shouldn't cut your hair, it's nothing to do with your hair. What you should really be questioning is, why don't I have that inner bliss that I can accept how beautiful this is? The question comes from the inside first. And I always say Sikhi starts from the inside first. Cut your hair, don't cut your hair, it isn't where Sikhi is at. Because you will convince yourself that if Sikhi is keeping your hair, then you will convince yourself that I'm a Sikh because I kept my hair. You're not a Sikh if you kept your hair. You're a Sikh if you've taken on the wisdom of the Guru. If you've practiced the mentality of the Guru. Guru is a wisdom, and we have to take that mentality on. We have to live that. We have to live and breathe it. That is a Sikh. And the hair is the expression of that wisdom. So if you're debating whether or not you should cut your hair, It means that you're looking at, should I be a good Sikh or a bad Sikh? Because a good Sikh keeps the hair and a bad Sikh cuts the hair. That's not how I understand it. You should really be asking your question, why haven't I found this inner bliss that I can accept my body? It means that I'm in a state of discomfort. My external form, the external form that has been given to me by the beauty of nature, is uncomfortable to me. And I need to work on that discomfort. Where is that discomfort coming from? Who tells me that this form is ugly? Who told me that hair is ugly? Where does that come from? Who said that? Who polluted my thinking to make me think that the flower at the end of the tree is ugly? Who made me think like that? The Guru doesn't make me think like that. So how can I change my thinking? You have to ask yourself the question, why do I want to cut my hair? That would be my question to you. Rather than, should I or shouldn't I cut my hair? The question is, why would I want to cut my hair? What is the influence that's cutting my hair? What is that? Is it to satisfy the ego? Is it because I feel better? I'm not telling you not to cut your hair. Let me be clear. I'm not telling you don't cut your hair. That's not my decision for you. It's not for me to tell you what you should and shouldn't do. It's my only desire is I can give you perspective. And the perspective I take on that is when you cut your hair, what you're really saying is, I will allow society to define who I am. And I think the Khalsa is Nyara. I think the Khalsa is strong and unique and independent. That says, I don't need you to define who I am. I don't need society and culture to define who I am. The Guru will help me decide who I am. Now, I do take your point that there is a point that you made that the Sikh and the Khalsa, can we make a distinction between that? Should we say that some people are Sikhs and Sehstari Sikhs and all that, and there are some Khalsa Sikhs who keep the hair? Well, that's the paradigm that we have at the moment. That is the view that we have at the moment. That even in the Sikh Rahat Maryada talks about Sehstari Sikhs, which are the Sikhs who don't choose to adopt the Khalsa lifestyle, who choose to cut their hair. So I don't think, my biggest issue is with judgment. That's my biggest issue, is the ones who keep their hair think that they have the right to judge the people who don't and make them feel inferior. And that to me is the epitome of ego. If you keep your hair, the reason you're keeping your hair was to kill your ego, not for you to build an ego that says, I am better than you. The fact that you are judging me means you are not following your Guru's teachings. The fact that you make me feel inferior means you are not a Sikh of my Guru. My Guru would never make me feel inferior. I don't believe Guru Nanak Dev Ji would ever have done that to any of the Sikhs, or Buddhists, or Hindus, or atheists, or anyone, to make them feel inferior. This is not Guru Nanak Sikhi. Judgment and ego is a big disease amongst the so-called Amritari classes. And I can say that because I am an Amritari. I know that there are too many Amritaris who think that they are better than the non-Amritaris. I have even seen, and I'm sure you've seen, people who were amazing people when they had a cut hair. When they became Amritaris, they became horrible people. I've seen that, and I'm sure you've seen that. Because they've convinced themselves, I've taken Amrit, I used to be a Manmukh, now I'm a Gurmukh. And I say to them, if you can call yourself a Gurmukh, you're not a Gurmukh. So all those people that are walking around thinking they're a Gursikh and they're a Gurmukh because they've kept their hair and they're a Amritari, they're not. They are a Manmukh. Because Manmukh means I'm still listening to the ego of the mind. I'm still listening to that voice of the mind that says, I am better than you. The whole purpose of hair was to get rid of your ego. And you've used the hair to build your ego. Completely opposite to Guru Nanak.